Apple's next major product was just leaked, and the internet is losing their mind on what is coming next. I've got the inside scoop on some all-new Apple products coming as soon as today, like right now, actually. Plus, we've got some updates on iOS 19, the iPhone 17 lineup, and some new freebies coming from Apple soon. Lots of wild stuff has been happening in the world of Apple news for the last couple of weeks, and this week is no exception. Let me break down all the big news you need to know right now. So I just did a full video breaking down the entire iPhone 17 lineup. I went over all the leaks, all the rumors, and I told you everything you need to know. If you want to check out that video, I'll leave it linked down below and also at the end of this one. And while I'm not going to do that sort of deep dive in this video, just wanted to give you a quick update on the never-ending leaks of the dummy models that have been making their ways to different corners of the earth and in turn, different corners of the internet. Now, these models look super crude and super rough, and that is on purpose. Typically, they're based off of the most accurate dimensions and the leaked CAD files, and they're given to like case manufacturers so they're able to sort of get to work on their cases and model everything out. So by the time the phones actually are revealed and then released in September, they've got all their cases and everything locked in with the right dimensions, so they are ready to go. And this is something that's been happening for the last couple of years. And really, like I will say, like the last 2, 3, 4 years, these dummy models have been basically spot on, almost like, you know, not pixel per pixel, but inch per inch perfect for exactly what we end up getting with the official iPhone announcement. So if, you know, history is anything to go off of, this is sort of our best look yet, a rough look at what the iPhone 17 line is going to look like. And as you can see, it basically just confirms everything we've been talking about for the last couple of months. We're gonna have a 4-phone lineup. We're gonna get this wild new design for the rear of some phones. We're gonna be getting this crazy thin iPhone 17 Slim or iPhone 17 Air, and then the Pro phones and the regular phone. I do find it interesting though that the closer we get to the actual reveal in September, the more it looks like this iPhone 17 Slim is only going to have one camera. I'm curious if that is done because that's only the physical space they had to work with, or if Apple realized that if they put 2 cameras in there, there wouldn't be as much of a reason to jump to a Pro or Pro Max. So I wonder if that one camera solution that is rumored to be happening on the Slim is on purpose, so people will buy either the 17 or jump up even more to the Pro or Pro Max. Not sure how this is all going to shake out. We'll know more in the next couple of months, but in the meantime, it just continues to leak like crazy, and looks like the iPhone 17 is going to look like the rumors and leaks and renders show us it has for the last couple of months. Also, Mark Gurman over at Bloomberg confirms yet again that iOS 19 is set to have this very Vision OS style appearance. Basically, it seems like Apple's almost reverting back to what they used to do, making things a lot more lifelike. I think the term was skeuomorphic back in the day with iOS 5 and iOS 6. And it's funny because if you look back at certain elements of Apple's iOS, or even, you know, I guess before it was iOS, iPhone software back in the day, it was very lifelike, and a lot of small details were put in to make it feel more natural and cozy and familiar. And as Apple has sort of strayed away from that with their more minimal design language with iOS 7 and the subsequent versions, looks like we're sort of going back. And if iOS 19 looks anything like what these renders show us, it's going to look really, really cool. There's been a lot of debate in the community on whether this is accurate or not, and whether or not these renders and images are going to be the real thing, or if Apple's going to go in a different direction. I'm not sure. I'm no Apple employee, but I will say the consensus is this is our best look yet at iOS 19, and it's going to be a very nice new design. Likely not going to be feature-packed because Apple's going to focus more on the new design on the outside, but hopefully we get some under-the-hood improvements, and more importantly, some bug fixes and Apple Intelligence fixes in this update as well. Also, speaking of controversy, you know that Apple's, I don't think this is a surprise, a company that loves money. Like at one point, I don't know if this is still true, but their Fifth Avenue Apple store was making more money per square foot than Tiffany's, the high-end jewelry chain. But at the same time, they're looking to really double down on offering some things for free, or if not free, at a very in Apple world dollars, minimal cost, all things considered. What I mean by this is a couple of examples. Number one, Apple TV Plus. Now, we have seen the price of this service go up over the last couple of years. At the very beginning, it was like $5 a month, which was a really good deal. Then it's increased from there. Though I will say it takes about 20 seconds of Googling to typically find like a free trial, so I don't think most people are paying for TV Plus, and if they're doing it, they're not paying it for that long because they're watching a couple shows and bailing. But we're now learning sort of what we had assumed all along, was that the service is substantially losing money. A recent report claims that Apple TV Plus is losing Apple $1 billion per year, that they're pouring all of this money into it. In a lot of ways, they are sparing no expense with high quality production value and top-tier actors, and they are losing money on the endeavor. And while Apple doesn't like to lose money, and they don't really like to lose at anything, they're okay with it. In fact, we're sort of hearing they're going to continue with this trend because they think it's kind of worth losing money over. It's clear that the Apple in 2025 is certainly trying to shift away from their dependence on hardware. They're realizing that there's only so many people that can buy iPhones and spend $1,000 every year on these things. And as great as Mac and iPad updates are, they realize, like a lot of other companies, the future is in software and services and subscription models, which is why I've been talking about a lot on this channel, how they're trying to broaden out their offerings. And TV Plus is one of those things that honestly was sort of not great in the beginning, but is slowly but surely getting better. I'm sure a lot of you guys are watching Severance, and there was Morning Show and a lot of other top tier shows that are getting better and better and actually making their way like into like the public, like general, like non-techie person who enjoys these shows. And it seems like that is what Apple's aiming for, that in fact, they're okay losing $1 billion a year on the service if it means they can get more people not only sort of talking about Apple, but talking about Apple and entering the Apple ecosystem in a different way. And even other Apple services as well, like Apple Music actually works on Android as well. So technically, there are a couple of Apple like subscription services you could subscribe to and use and not even own an iPhone, which is sort of crazy to think about, but definitely I think this is the direction Apple is going, and they see this as sort of worth losing some money in the short term to hopefully gain some more customers in the long term. Another example of this, which I think most people have forgotten about, is the emergency satellite connectivity with our iPhones. Remember when this first debuted a couple iPhone generations ago? Apple sort of slipped in there the fact that it was going to be like free for a year, then you'd have to pay. Well, so far, no one has paid a dime for this. Apple has bared all of the costs for this. And again, it seems like one of those things that Apple has sort of resigned themselves to the fact that it's worth spending and in some cases losing money on these things because it's able to attract people to the iPhone, that maybe some people will consider the iPhone specifically for this emergency feature. And Apple realizes that it's worth them sort of paying the costs for and then sort of passing on the freebies, in some cases, and the features over to consumers. And on that note, another digital service Apple is planning to start providing soon, that again just leaked over the last couple of days, is rumored to be some sort of Apple Health Plus. Basically an upgraded version of the health app that would eventually aim to replace your doctor. The idea, from what we're hearing right now, is that this health app would be able to take data from presumably your Apple Watch and whatever other health data you give it, you know, sleep records, workouts, vital signs, things like that, and then it would sort of work to be like your health professional or your health coach, that it could give you ideas on what foods to eat. It would give you ideas on workouts and other changes you could make to give you the most well-rounded health expertise to you that's really tailored for you. This is something that's really interesting, especially given that it would probably rely on Apple Intelligence, and there's a lot of issues with Apple Intelligence right now. But also on the flip side, Apple has definitely been making this big push into health devices and health services. Really, the core of the Apple Watch, when it comes down to it, is about sort of tracking workouts and vital signs and health things and things like that. The new Beats have a heart rate sensor built in, rumored to be coming to AirPods Pro version 3. Curious to see what Health Plus looks like, and probably more importantly, how much it costs. And again, maybe this is one of those reasons and one of those examples where Apple could offer this for free as a way to sort of bring people in to the Apple ecosystem in a different way than just buying an iPhone. All right, and finally, last but certainly not least, I've got a couple of updates on Apple products we could be seeing very, very soon, some even as soon as like any day now. For example, AirTag 2. We've heard that Apple is working on a successor to AirTag. It was supposed to come at a spring event. Obviously, spring event didn't happen, and this is sort of one of those devices that is such a sort of minuscule thing, all things considered, that I feel like Apple could just sort of drop this on their website anytime and sort of just release it as a new thing. Also, according to Bloomberg, Apple is working to launch this year new versions of the iPad Pro and MacBook Pro with the M5 chips inside. And then there's been increased chatter about some sort of new display from Apple, some new Pro display, some new Studio display. That could be in the works coming soon. Of course, there's new iPhones, Apple Watches, AirPods Pro 3, hopefully. And that's kind of what we know right now in terms of new hardware coming from Apple. Seems like there's really this tug of war going on inside of Apple between hardware and software. Obviously, Apple's trying to get iOS 19 ready. They're trying to fix a lot of the Apple Intelligence issues, and it seems like this year is going to be a little bit lighter on hardware than in years past, but hopefully that means the products we're getting, like iPhone 17 and new Apple Watches and things like that, are a little bit more exciting and better, because we're generally going to be getting less stuff this year. So I'll keep you updated on that as we learn more. And yeah, curious guys, what are your thoughts on all this? Your thoughts on Apple entering a digital health coach arena? Your thoughts on the iPhone 17 line? I will leave a link to the video in just a moment. If you want to get a full deep dive on the iPhone 17, I'll have that pop up on screen in about 5 seconds. And with that, I'll send it off to you guys. Drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on all this stuff. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Robert Rosenfeld. I'll see ya in the next one.